Did you ever feel like you had a "I made it" moment while being an entertainer?
An I made it moment.
Yeah, like,
Um,
yeah.
uh, I had a couple. I did a TV show pilot for ABC in the year two. I don't know, 1997, 98. It was called Honolulu Crew. It was about a bunch of Hawaiian detectives, and we were shot in Honolulu, shot in Hawaii, and I was getting paid a good amount of money. And I was in a circle, shooting in a circle. We were all checking our guns before we are going out on a raid, whatever. And it was me, this Russell Long, who's the actor, Lori Petty, um, who's an actress, and Michael Rooker, who's been in the Guardian of the Galaxy stuff. And we were all standing around, checking our guns. And I was going, boy, this is fun. I'm in Hawaii. I'm working. I'm making money. I'm playing and my partner was John Hawkes, who's been nominated for 2 Academy Awards. So I was like, boy, this is fun. Yeah, I can say that much. And I was in Hawaii. It was a fun project. We got to go around Oahu in the back of a squad car just to see the stuff that's going on. So we got to learn how to how to handle a gun. That was great. That was one of the things, not made it, but one of the times I was like, I remember being there going, wow, this is fucking awesome. This is a great feeling to just be in there and getting paid, and I'm in Hawaii and it's great and great people, and that was the moment. I also had a great moment when I did a movie called The World's Fastest Indian with Anthony Hopkins,
Mhm,
and I
mhm.
did 8 scenes, and they were all just me and Anthony Hopkins, pretty much. And I got to sit in a car with him, and just me and him, a lot of scenes. And I got to spend time with Anthony Hopkins, just asking him questions about acting, asking him questions about all kinds of stuff. And, he told me a story about how Charlie Chaplin was one of his idols and he wrote him a letter as a kid. And Charlie Chaplin wrote him back. And I'm like, do you have the letter? I'm like, do you have the letter? And he's like, no, my mom threw it away. It's like a long time ago. But then coming full circle, he was on the set of Silence of the Lambs. And no, he was on this. He got nominated for Silence of the Lambs, and when he found out, he was on the set of Chaplin. He was doing the movie with Robert Downey Jr. on the set of Chaplin, and then that's when he found out he was nominated for, which he won for Silence of the Lambs. So just small little things like that you would never know. And I got the privilege of being with one of the greatest actors of our generation and to go toe to toe with him. And he also did not make a good actor does not make you feel like you're outside of what you're doing. You feel like you're just having a conversation with someone who's, that's what acting is just being and having an exchange. So I'm not thinking, oh my God, I'm acting with Anthony Hopkins. I'm just in my character doing my thing. And he's just in his character. And at one point in like my dialogue, I said, are you AAA member? And he goes, what? Because couldn't hear me. As opposed to just saying the line that he had, he was like, huh? And I had to repeat the question, which lends to the authenticity of what the acting is about, basically. Because if he couldn't hear me, no matter what I said, he's not going to repeat his line because that's not acting. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
So I was on set of World's Fastest Indian talking to him, having all these questions, and he was writing music at the time. He didn't know how to read music, but he was playing piano, writing music. And he invited me into his trailer because he said, you want to hear some music that I'm writing? So I'm sitting there, in Anthony Hopkins' trailer, listening to music he composed. And I so happened to be in my role. I played at the time called a transvestite. Now it's, something different, but I'm in full drag in Anthony Hopkins' trailer and listen to his music going, like, what has my life become? Like, what has my life become? Like, so that was another moment that I'm like, I would not have had this experience at all if it wasn't for my career or my acting or whatever. So, um, I've had a couple of great moments where I always try to take a step back no matter what I'm doing or and really look at the present situation of where you are right now, what you're doing right now. Does that make sense? So reflecting, even taking a step back and going, okay, remember this moment. Remember how you're feeling in this moment, what's going on in this moment, and taking a mental snapshot of it, and so you can have it for posterity. You know. So that was another. So in terms of really making it, I remember when I got that call that I got the role with Anthony Hopkins. I remember I was standing out in my courtyard. I remember that. I've had a couple different things when I got shouted out at the Emmys um, for my performance on Crazy Ass Killer for Curb Your Enthusiasm. The director who just won um, gave me a shout out in front of everybody, which was, phenomenal. You didn't have to do that, but you know. So I've had some really great moments in my career of special times that I've gone through because of my work.
That's sweet because when you mentioned good actors make you feel like you're in the moment, if I was in your shoes and I was about to act with Anthony Hopkins, I would feel extremely nervous. Did you not feel any of that, or did it just diminish
No.
quickly once you got in the scene?
Well, that's another thing. There's no reason to be nervous because if you, and one of the things I asked him also is like, well, what do you do? What are your techniques? He's just like, learn your lines and say them. He's like, keep it simple, really. Just learn your lines really, really well, and then just say them. So you're not thinking about. If you're thinking about stuff, you're not acting. You're reacting. When someone cuts you off, if you're driving your car and someone cuts you off, right? You're not thinking, I got to be really angry at this moment and say, hey, man, what? Oh, am I angry enough? Hey, man, don't cut me. No, you're just like, you're fucking angry because someone cut you off. Instantly, you're like, your level of anger is where you want to be at that moment. Does that make sense? It just comes out organically. So you're not thinking about how angry should I be if a guy cuts me off. You're just angry or not angry at that moment, whatever that feeling is at the time. So you don't really good acting is really reacting and really feeding off. And I had no nervousness with him at all because it was two actors doing a scene and two characters relating to one another, and he just made it really easy. I think that's a testament to a fantastic actor if you're making and also a giving actor as well. The more that you're present and giving, because I've been in some situations where people aren't giving or aren't with you in that moment and you're struggling to you got to grind, you got to work hard to make a connection because acting is are connections between people, and if no one's giving you something back and you're trying to get something out of someone and they're not doing that for you, you kind of have to manufacture that on your own. But when it's someone who's just relating to you as the character and you're relating to them as a character, there's really no need to be nervous because you know us having a conversation, there's no reason to be nervous because we're just having a conversation. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So, like when you're talking to a friend or you're talking to someone else, you're not nervous because you're just relating to someone else, and that's really what acting is relating to someone else and with text. You know, so Uh, yeah, I wasn't. He made it great. He was amazing. He was an incredible individual, really giving human being, and a loving man too. Just a really good man. He was like, at one point, I was up for a role in this USA pilot, and it's like, "Do you want any help? Do you want you? Can I? Anything I can do?" I'm like, "I don't know." He's like, "You want me to call the president of USA TV?" I was like, "Yeah, if you want to." He's like, "Okay." Called up the USA TV network and said, "This is Anthony Hopkins calling." He goes, "What do you want me to say?" I'm like, "You say whatever you want." He's like, "I just want to let you know I'm working with Chris Williams right now. He's a fantastic actor. I just want to let you know that blah, blah, blah." And he didn't have to do that. He didn't have to do that at all. But he was like, anything I can do to help you get on your way. I didn't get the role, but it was an amazing testament of the type of person he is, and that comes through in a lot of times it comes through in acting when you can see people are open and giving. It makes it a lot easier to relate to someone else. Even if they're you're combative with each other, you're at least being open with each other and receiving and giving. So, excuse me. Um, yeah, so I wasn't nervous at all. I really don't get nervous is not the I would get nervous about sometimes remembering lines like not nervous about it, but hyper focused on like a monologue. I did a monk episode where I had a lot of dialogue and technical things and this and the other, and just making sure that I knew all my lines. But I usually don't get really nervous when I'm acting. I don't, I don't really usually get nervous.